do you think I'm going to say to you?
No.
Correct. Goodbye.
So you want to know why procreation only or spilling seed theology is bad theology? We'll absolutely tell you. So there is a theology out there in certain sects of Christianity that say that a man must finish inside of his wife. They say it is a sin to spill seed outside of a woman because of the story of Onan. So we need to look at historical and cultural context of the story, but we also need to remember that there are two different kinds of scriptures. There is descriptive, which is often like a historical account, and then there is proscriptive, which is commands for all believers at all times. Proscriptive is kind of like the 10 Commandments, right? All believers at all times should be following the 10 Commandments. Descriptive is simply describing a historical account of what happened. And people run into trouble theologically when they try to create a whole theology for all people at all times based on descriptive texts. And that is what has happened with Onan. Now, people will say, well, it's because we have to be open to life. But even that doesn't hold water for me, because nowhere in the Song of Solomon, the entire book about sexual pleasure between a husband and wife, is there a description of procreation. So the whole open to life thing doesn't hold water for me either. That is honestly a very distinct Catholic theology, and I am not Catholic. So if you are Catholic, I'm sorry, but this is part of the issue that I have with the theology. So Onan, in that day, we need to back up a little bit and talk about culturally. If a man's brother was killed or died for some reason, he was instructed to take his wife, the dead brother's wife, as his own, to take the widow and to give her a child, impregnate her. And the child that she carried would then legally be considered the son of the dead man. This is very important, because the reality is, Onan didn't want his brother to have a child, because then he was going to have to give up his inheritance and all of that sort of thing. And so Onan, instead of just saying outright, no, I'm not going to do that, led her to believe he would impregnate her, which really is a form of sexual abuse, because he used her for his own pleasure, pulled out, spilled his seed on the ground so that she couldn't get pregnant, which is not, like, she consented to sex under the impression that she would be getting pregnant from this, right? So he deceived her. And we have to remember, the Bible says God looks at the heart, man looks at the outward appearance. So a bunch of people looked at this descriptive passage of God killed Onan for spilling his seed on the ground and saying, oh, well, that's a sin then, when it's really just a description, because God was looking at his selfish and deceitful heart, and that's why he killed him. Further, Song of Solomon has verses that reference oral sex, which means it's okay to spill seed, not in a woman's body. Well, it's okay to not finish inside of her in order to be open to life or produce a life, right? You can swallow too. It's okay. Song of Solomon references that. So go have good sex.